We are trying very hard to avoid start-stops in our measures and to minimize the need to throttle back or to tighten. But I hope everyone understands it is very challenging to do this.
Good evening, I'm Haryanto Diman. In a press conference held a short time ago, the COVID-19 Multi-Ministry Task Force announcing the extension of the Vaccinated Travel Lane scheme to include 5 more countries. And with this extension, the overall VTL quotas will be increased to 10,000 travellers daily. From November 29th, travellers from Indonesia and India may enter Singapore quarantine-free under the VTL scheme. Vaccinated travel pass applications for short-term visitors and long-term pass holders for these travellers will begin on November 22nd. Meanwhile, travellers from Qatar, Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates may enter Singapore under the VTL from December 6th. Travel pass applications for these travellers will start on November 29th. The conditions for the VTLs for these countries are the same as existing VTLs. Transport Minister S. Iswaran has a bit of advice for those planning to travel in the coming weeks.
Meanwhile, as many Singaporean families are planning to travel, I urge all travellers to closely monitor the situation in the countries they are visiting, be well informed and updated on their latest public health and border measures, and plan ahead for contingencies. So to conclude, we are progressively expanding the VTL scheme as we gain experience and confidence from its implementation. And as we learn to live with COVID-19, we will persevere with reopening our borders safely to secure our position as a global business and aviation hub, while retaining the flexibility to adapt quickly to the evolving pandemic situation.
Meanwhile, discussions on the reopening of land border travel with Malaysia are going well. This follows last week's announcement that vaccinated travellers will be able to take flights between Changi Airport and Kuala Lumpur International Airport without quarantine from November 29th. Here's Task Force Co-Chair Gan Kim Yong with the latest.
Our discussions with Malaysia on a VTL-like arrangement for our land links has progressed well. We are working to launch this soon, hopefully in a few weeks' time. Singapore and Malaysia share close ties on many fronts, especially among our people. Many families have been separated from one another for a long time because of border restrictions. We hope this land link arrangement will allow many of them to be reunited, and they will be one of our priorities.
With more people getting their booster shots, a reminder from Health Minister Ong Ye Kung that the 2 mRNA vaccines, Pfizer and Moderna, can be used interchangeably. And he also gave an update on vaccines for children aged 5 to 11.
MOH has done a study recently on the relative effectiveness of Pfizer-BioNTech and Moderna as booster shots in terms of reducing infection risk. We compared 2 combinations. One combination is PPP, means Pfizer-BioNTech, Pfizer-BioNTech, Pfizer-BioNTech as booster, PPP, versus PPM, means Pfizer-BioNTech, first dose, Pfizer-BioNTech, second dose, then Moderna, third dose, like what I have done and like what DMS has done. There are results for other combinations, such as MMM, MMP, but I should caution that the sample sizes for these are not very large and the statistics may not be as meaningful. But just comparing PPP and PPM, the results are as follows. Relative to 2 Pfizer-BioNTech doses, PPP further reduces risk of infection by 62%. As for PPM, the reduction is 72%. So both mRNA vaccines work very well as boosters. There has also been a lot of interest from parents on children vaccines. MOH has signed a new supply agreement with Pfizer, which includes deliveries of pediatric vaccines. And we are in constant contact with Pfizer, who will try to fulfill the deliveries as soon as possible. In the meantime, our own children vaccination trial is making progress. The purpose of this trial is to smoothen operations when we have to do it at scale because young children are involved. KK Hospital is overseeing it and planning to start recruitment of the first batch of participants. So if your child is between 5 and 11 years old, you can find out from the KKH's website and Facebook page more about the study as well as the registration details. And this will be available by end of this week.
By the end of the month, proper checks on vaccination status will be put in place at hawker centres. The same will be implemented at coffee shops soon.
The first group of hawker centres will be able to put in the checking system before end of this month, before end November. For these hawker centres, fully vaccinated individuals from the same household can enter and then sit down and dine together in groups of 5, just like restaurants. Other hawker centres will implement the same system with full checks soon after. As for coffee shops, SFA has been engaging the various operators. They will have the option of, one, doing thorough checks of all their patrons. And if they can do that, then members of the same household can sit down and dine in groups of 5, just like restaurants. But if the coffee shops cannot do that and cannot do the thorough checks, then the usual groups of 2 will apply. And this system will also be progressively rolled out in the coming weeks.
Constant changes, frustrations, perceived flip-flops. Minister Lawrence Wong acknowledging in today's press conference that it has indeed been a turbulent few months for all of us as Singapore deals with the evolving pandemic situation. And he says we can look forward to another official update next week.
We understand that it is not always easy for people to keep track of the changes in our measures. And from time to time, it also creates frustration because of the perceived flip-flops in our COVID strategy. That's why we are trying very hard to avoid start-stops in our measures and to minimize the need to throttle back or to tighten. But I hope everyone understands it is very challenging to do this. And this challenge is not unique to Singapore. That is why we believe the best strategy for Singapore going forward is to ease our measures in a controlled, careful, and calibrated manner. And this applies to our border measures as well as to measures within our community. To conclude, this is the step-by-step incremental approach we will be taking in easing our measures. It's not a big bang, as we have said before. It's done in a controlled manner, and each time we make a move, we will monitor the situation for the next few days or 1-2 weeks, ensure that the overall infection situation is stable before we make the next move. So we have done some moves already. We will monitor the situation over the next few days, and early next week, we will give a further update on our possible next steps. And this is how we can together continue on our journey of reopening our economy and resuming more activities safely.
Visit straitstimes.com for more on today's announcements. You can also watch the full press conference on the Straits Times' YouTube channel, and remember to subscribe by hitting the button below. I'm Haryanto Diman. Take care, and I'll see you soon.